Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I have a little bit of a situation. So this client has only ever come to me for haircuts and dark toners before. Like I'm talking level 4 toners, nothing lighter than that. So I was a little bit shocked when I saw what she came in with. I knew it was blonder. Her friend had ended up coloring it for her, who is a stylist. So as you guys can see, the balayage that her friend did has grown out quite a bit. She's got some new growth, she's got some lighter areas, a lot of brassy areas, and I did have to go in and correct her haircut as well. As you can see, it was just a little bit uneven. So in today's video, I am going to show you guys a newer balayage technique that I've been trying out, but also how to get rid of some of that brass she's dealing with and moving up her balayage. So super excited for that, and if you guys are interested, let's just go ahead and get started. So lately I have been experimenting with new lighteners just because I'm always down to try new things, especially with blondes. So I'm using the Fanola No Yellow Lightener just because I love Fanola so much. So I'm going to be using 10 volume with this, and of course adding in Olaplex as well to keep her hair nice and healthy while we are lightening. I like to start with 10 volume just because putting in the foils takes me quite a bit. And by the time we get up to the top, I like to move up to about 25 volume so it all processes all together at the same time.
Let's sing a song full of hope, full of pain. Why don't you sing along, my friend? For it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end. No, they don't fade away. So when
for her low light today, I'm using a ½ ounce of 7NB from Redken Shades EQ, a ½ ounce of 7N, and 1 ounce of 6N, so equal parts of those. And then I'm using the Redken Shades EQ cream processing solution just to make it easier to put onto the hair since it is a thicker consistency.
for it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave.
So for today's technique, I'm going to be starting off by doing a halo around her entire hairline. Now what that means is I'm going to take 2 baby light foils back to back around her entire hairline. So you guys will see that I'm starting off on the bottom of her neck area, and I'm just doing those 2 little baby lights going all the way up to her root. And then you guys will see that I switch over from one side and then the other side. So it's basically around the entire perimeter of the hairline. I'm taking those 2 foils of baby lights back to back just because those are going to be the biggest, most standout pieces, and we want to see the most brightness when she does pull her hair up.
They don't fade away, so when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun.
So while you guys are watching me do this halo technique around the entire hairline, I do want to say a couple things about this technique. So number one, I'm sure you guys already know who Maggie and B Scene are. If you guys are in the hair community, they are definitely a big inspiration here. So they actually have an online education Instagram. It's called Fan House, and I am a part of it, and I absolutely love it. So this technique that you guys see right here is a variation from a technique that they taught on there, and it is a technique that I have been absolutely loving. So I kind of take some of the techniques that they do, and I either copy the exact same thing on my clients, or I have been doing different variations, which you guys will see one of them on this client today. So that's why I'm super excited to show you guys, specifically because I learned it from 2 of the best people in this industry, and I just love the results I get from here. So I just wanted to give credit to them so that way, you know, if they do happen to stumble upon this video, I don't think they will, but if they do, I did learn it from them, and I definitely recommend that you guys sign up for their online education. It is so affordable, and it is definitely life-changing if you guys are in the industry. So I did the entire halo except for her money piece. I will leave the money piece alone until I get to the mohawk section. So I'm going to go ahead and section out 2 wide sections on the side of her head, 1 big kind of mohawk in the back, and then 1 big mohawk on the top of her head. So you guys can see right here exactly how that sectioning looks like. So I'm going to start on the side sections first, and my technique that I'm using is weaves that are teased out. So the first 2 foils that you guys saw on the hairline are obviously all the way up to the root just to give maximum amount of brightness. But now I'm going to be teasing out all of the weaves that I'm doing just to make it gradually go from brighter to a little bit more lived in. And what I like to do is just fully saturate in the middle of where the most of the darkness is, and then feather out towards the top of her root area. That way it's no harsh line of demarcation, and the teasing really just kind of gives in that lived-in look. So you guys will see right after I do that one highlight, I'm going to go in and add a low light. Now the reason I'm adding a low light is because I want to add that depth and dimension, breaking up that brass that she has as well. So I'm doing about 2 to 3 highlights to every low light. So you guys will see right here that I am again adding another lighter piece. So teasing out the weave that I did, and you guys will see that I add a clip every time that I add the teasing, just because that teasing kind of gets in my way sometimes. So I fully saturate in the middle of the section and then kind of feather up towards the top, making sure that I leave out the pieces that are already super bright and don't need any more lightener, because you don't need to overlap if it's not necessary. And then I'm pulling through on the pieces that are a bit brassy and need to be lightened up a little bit more. Also, one little time-saving technique that you guys may not think makes a difference, but it actually makes a huge difference, is you guys will notice while I'm doing this balayage technique, I'm not actually folding over every single balayage foil that I'm doing. And the reason being is that you guys will see as soon as I lay a foil on top, I kind of gently press on the foil to make sure that it's gripped in there with the lightener, but it's also not going to budge around even though it's not folded over. I feel like we spend so much time folding over, and I'm very guilty of this. I try and make every single foil look perfect and pretty and symmetrical, but it's not always necessary, especially when you're trying to save time. Another little tip, if you guys do happen to try out this technique, try your best to over direct the hair forward instead of backwards. You guys can leave the hair horizontally, but if you are going to over direct, make sure it's forward and not backward. This is going to help with blending and just giving the best result possible.
Sing a song full of hope, full of pain. Why don't you sing along, my friend, for it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end, no, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be right there,
So now that I've done the two side sections, I'm moving on to the money piece. So for the money piece, I am going to be doing a small baby slice in the front. And then the second foil, I'm going to be doing a small little baby light on top of that one. And I'm doing those two all the way from the roots to ends. And then after I do those two foils, I'll be moving on to teasing out those other foils in the mohawk section. So whenever I get to that third foil is when I start to add the back combing or teasing. So I push the hair down about 3 times, and then on the fourth foil, I tease it down a couple more times, and the fifth foil a couple more times. And the reason I like to do that is just because it gradually goes from like all the way up to the root to a little bit darker and a little bit more lived in as it gradually gets to the back of her hair.
More, we won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on.
So now that I've done a couple foils with lightener in them, I wanted to kind of do something to break up the brightness in the front and the more depth dimensional area in the back. So I went in and popped in a low light right there. I believe I did like 4 or 5 foils here in the front of just blonde, and then now I just popped in that low light shade.
Shine through the rain, the ones who stood for something more, we won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the.
So once I've done a couple foils in the front mohawk section, I'm just going to go in the back and eventually meet up to the front mohawk. So I'm just going to continue doing exactly what I've been doing throughout the entire head. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So I'm just going to throw in about 2 to 3 highlights and then popping in a low light and continuing to do the exact same.
Here's to the ones who let shine through the rain, the ones who stood for something more, we won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun.
went ahead and pre-toned her using the Fanola No Yellow Purple Shampoo. This is my favorite purple shampoo that I recommend to all of my clients. It does such a great job at toning out those brassy or yellow tones that you see come through after the toner fades out. So I went ahead and did that, and then I'm going to go in with the Shadow Root and the All Over Toner. For some reason, I did forget to record myself formulating all those toners, but the Shadow Root, I actually used the same exact low light shade that we were using throughout the hair, which was that Redken Shades EQ 7N and 7NB with a little bit of 6N. So what I'm doing with the Shadow Root is I'm going about an inch down on her entire head, and then you guys will see that I'm actually sectioning out her money piece. That way it doesn't go an inch down, it just goes a little bit. I'll tap that out at the very end. Maybe about like a centimeter down, just to soften up her natural root to that blonde so it's not so harsh, but definitely not going an inch down because we want it to pop as much as possible and give her the maximum amount of brightness down in the front.
Let's sing a song full of hope, full of pain. Why don't you sing along, my friend, for it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end, no, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. Here's to the ones who let shine through the rain, the ones who stood for something more. We won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun.
This is the final result of what her hair looks like whenever it's straight. I did include this little snippet just to show you how well it blends. And then we went ahead and added some beachy curls to show you guys the difference between the two, straight versus curly. So let me know what else you guys want to see down below, and let me know if you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope to see you all in my next one, and have a great day. Bye, guys.
When I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to